1 month after Pearl Harbor, President Roosevelt proclaims that victory over the aggressor nations is now our country's highest priority. FDR's impossible 1942 production goals of 60,000 aircraft, 45,000 tanks, 20,000 anti-aircraft guns, and 8 million tons of shipping are intended to strike fear into the enemy and to mobilize the home front. Victory becomes the catchword behind America's war aims, and the word sacrifice suddenly has new meaning. Following the attack on Pearl Harbor, a wave of anti-Japanese hysteria sweeps the West Coast. Fears of sabotage and further invasion are fanned by a rabid Hearst press, politicians, business protectionist groups, and the military. The American people quickly begin to look for a scapegoat. At the War Department's urging, President Roosevelt signs Executive Order 9066, authorizing the removal of all Japanese Americans from the Pacific Coast. In one broad stroke, the civil liberties of over 100,000 American citizens are shattered. 4 days later, a Japanese submarine bombs an oil field near Santa Barbara, a timely affirmation of existing fears. All Japanese Americans are given 7 to 10 days to wind up their business affairs and to report to the newly established War Relocation Authority. The evacuees have just 3 options: sell their property, store it, or abandon it altogether. Due to future uncertainty, most liquidate all of their personal and business possessions at a fraction of their value. They are permitted to bring only what they can carry. They are transported by bus and train to temporary quarters such as the Santa Anita Raceway in California until permanent facilities are completed. Army newsreels and propaganda films mask the crude living conditions in an effort to justify the mandated actions. Few speak out in protest.
The Army nor the War Relocation Authority relished the idea of taking men, women, and children from their homes, their shops, and their farms. So the military and civilian agencies alike determined to do the job as a democracy should, with real consideration for the people involved.
Throughout the summer, the Army relocates over 100,000 Japanese American citizens to 10 hastily prepared internment camps in the harsh interior of the country, stretching from Death Valley, California, to southern Arkansas. Life inside the camps is alien for people who only recently enjoyed complete freedom. Although they try to recreate a microcosm of the world they left behind, few ever become accustomed to living behind barbed wire and being watched by guards. After VJ Day, victory over Japan, the camps are quietly emptied one by one. Each displaced family receives a meager $50 stipend to return to their neighborhoods, although few have homes remaining. Now the ex-internees face another challenge: starting over. With characteristic grace and courage, the Japanese American people endeavor to rebuild their lives. Some argue that it is difficult to avoid all inequalities in times of war, but the United States found little excuse for its treatment of citizens of Japanese ancestry. 40 years later, Congress formally acknowledges that the internment of Japanese Americans was a mistake.